Hello, second grade. So today we are going to be working on the objective to gain understanding of elements that are important to a constructed environment and community life. And so we should have talked about different kinds of buildings that you might find in a community. Skyscrapers, restaurants, libraries, garages, homes, apartments, townhomes. And we're going to create some buildings to go in an environment, and we're going to be working as a community of artists to create a constructed environment together. So each student will create a building for the environment, each student will create a piece of transportation for the environment, and each student will create a person that serves a purpose in the community. So the way that we're going to start is we'll start with the building first. So you're going to get to choose the color paper that you want for your building. You're going to need a ruler to help you draw straight lines, pencil and eraser, and we're going to use a Sharpie marker, permanent marker, to outline our drawing once we get it drawn, and we'll use construction paper crayons to color in. So you can choose to draw a tall building, or you could choose to turn your paper and do more of a wider building. But I want you to think about the different parts to a building. You need a roof, and so I'm going to make my building as wide as this paper so I don't have to do very much cutting. And so I'm going to draw a roof, and your roof could be a domed roof where you draw a hill. I'm going to do a roof that is a pitched roof, and it's more like a triangle. And notice how I'm using my ruler to draw any of the straight lines that I want. Okay, and then what do you need on a building? You need a door. You need to be able to get in. So I'm going to use my ruler to draw a door down at the bottom of my building. And I need some windows. So I think I'm going to do some long rows of windows. And then we're going to add a personality to our buildings. So we looked at the artwork of James Rizzi, and we're going to give each one of our buildings a personality. So you might have a happy building, or a sad building, or a silly building, or a mad building. You could use the windows as eyes in your building. You could do something for the nose and the mouth. I'm just going to add my face up here on the roof. I want to add a doorknob. I want to add a window on my door. And then maybe you need to decide what your building is made of. Is your building going to be made of bricks? Do you want to add some bricks to your building? And you don't have to add bricks to the whole thing. If you want to have a brick building, you can just add bricks to part of your building. Okay, and I think I'm going to make my building a sad building. So I'm going to make droopy eyes. And then you're going to outline with marker. Now, since we're using colored paper, we don't have to color in the whole thing because it's already colored. We can just color in some of our elements. So what I'm going to do before I color is I'm going to erase any pencil lines I missed when I traced with marker. So some pencil lines I don't get trace over exactly perfectly, and so I'm going to use my eraser to erase those. And then I'm going to use construction paper crayons to color in some of the elements. So I won't color in everything because the paper's already yellow, and I probably shouldn't use yellow crayon on yellow paper. So I think I'll color in some of the bricks. And since I'm using most of my paper, I only have a little bit of the roof line to cut out. And when I cut this out, I'm going to try and make sure I leave the black marker, the outline, still attached to my building. So I'm cutting on the very outer edge of the black marker line. And there is my building with a personality, and unfortunately my building is a sad building. So now we're going to do transportation. So I'll have a handout for you to look at for different transportations. If you wanted to do a truck, maybe you would put your paper this way, and you're going to choose whatever color for your transportation you want. If you want to do a taller piece of transportation, maybe it would go this way, but I think most of the time we're going to be doing it on our paper horizontally. And whenever I draw transportation, I do like to start with the wheels. And you can definitely use one of my circle patterns if you'd like, so that you get nice round wheels. I'm going to skip that step and just draw the wheels myself. Fingers crossed they're about the same size. And then I draw the bottom of my vehicle going up and over the wheels. And I think I'm going to do a car. And then we need a bumper. And I need a windshield, headlights. I need a door handle. And then again, we're going to outline with marker. Notice how I try to take up most of the paper, and I'm not wasteful, and I don't draw a tiny little car in this big paper and then recycle most of this paper when I'm done. I try to use most of the paper when I'm drawing and draw something big to fill the paper so I don't have a lot of paper to recycle, so I'm not being wasteful. Again, I'm erasing any pencil lines I didn't trace over exactly. And just like with the building, I can choose to color in some of this, but I wouldn't color the whole thing in because it's already a colored piece of paper. So most of it should probably already be colored in, but I'm going to color in the wheels. I think I'm going to give it a stripe so I can add a little bit of color. I didn't add any people to my car, but if you wanted to add someone driving or someone looking out the window, you could, but I just didn't want to do it, so you don't have to, but if you want to, you can. And then you're going to carefully cut out your vehicle. By me using most of the paper, I'm just going to have a little bit of scrap left over that gets recycled. So there's my vehicle. And then the last thing, so I have my building with a personality and my sad building. I have my vehicle. And so the last thing is to draw a person that serves the community. So like a policeman, a fireman, a baker, a teacher, someone that works at the store. So you're going to get a smaller paper for your people, and I'm going to give you a circle pattern for the head and a rectangle for the body. You do not have to use these if you don't want to. If you know already how to draw a person, that's fine. But I'm going to use these for help, and I'm going to start with the head at the top, and then I'm going to add a rectangle right below for the body, and then I'm going to add legs and arms. And I'm going to make my person an artist for the community. They're going to paint things and make things real pretty. So I'm going to put a beret on their head, put an apron on, and make my artist a happy artist. And you're going to outline and color this in as well. Oh, I need hair and ears too. Okay, and I try to draw my artist filling the paper up again so that I'm not wasteful of the paper and draw a tiny little person in the middle of this paper. So now we're going to color this in, and I'd like you to use a skin colored crayon for their face and hands and neck. And I have some skin colored crayons in a basket. Not coloring in the teeth because those are going to stay white. Okay, and then you're going to carefully cut your person out, a person that serves a purpose in your community. And I'm trying to keep the black line on the outside of my person. So I'm trying to leave the black line on, and I'm cutting around the outer edge. All right, and there I have my person that serves a purpose in the community, my transportation, and my building with a personality. And then what we're going to do is, as a group, as a class, we're going to arrange our buildings. Some buildings will overlap. The taller buildings will be in the back, the shorter buildings up front. Then we'll put our transportation down in front of our buildings, and then our people will be at the very front in the foreground. Good job, Sarah.